Good morning. Happy Thursday. I'm sorry for periods 5 and 6 that today's a short period and this one's a little lengthy, but I'll have to perhaps finish this one at home today. Do make sure you have your green sheet of notes out. Remember that green sheet we made last week that I said you could use for your final? Make sure that you're taking notes on it on the My Notes section and that you're ready for your test next week when you got to take your final. You can have notes on it. You can also use a calculator, and you're going to need one for this section, I believe. Wait, false. You don't need a calculator for this. My bad. Okay, let's go through it. This is chapter 8, graphing quadratic functions. If you look on your notes, you'll remember there are two ways you could graph a quadratic function, a parabola, in standard form or in vertex form. And those are on your green sheet that we reviewed last week. Have your green sheet with you, of course. I hope that you attempted this to the best of your ability. Here's what you should have: correct any mistakes and take notes on the mistakes that you made. Does this quadratic function have a minimum or maximum? Explain. Well, because the leading coefficient is negative, that tells you that this parabola is going to open down. And actually, I didn't take the time to graph it. I don't really know where it is exactly, but I know it opens down, and therefore I know it has a maximum. So it has a maximum because it opens down. Has a max because it opens down. And I know that it opens down because it has a leading coefficient that is negative. A is negative. Tell whether this is quadratic. Explain. If it is, identify A, B, and C. Well, let's put in standard form first of all. And the answer is yes, it is quadratic because x squared is the highest power. Because x squared is the highest power. So a quadratic has an x squared, but not only does it have an x squared, but the x squared is the highest power. So it doesn't have an x cubed in it, or it doesn't have an x to the fourth. It has an x squared, and that's it. And a, in this particular case, is 7, b is 5, and c is negative 6. That's it. What is the minimum of this? Well, first of all, I know it has a minimum because it opens up. You guys see that? Because your leading coefficient is 1, so it's positive, so it opens up, so it has a minimum. The minimum will, of course, be the vertex. Whenever you see the words maximum or minimum in a parabola, you got to think, what's the vertex? So find the vertex. So to find the vertex, I'll do x equals negative b over 2a. That will give me the x value of the vertex. In this case, negative 3. So my vertex is going to be the point negative 3 comma something. Now I got to find what's the y value when x is negative 3. So you're just going to have to do a little bit of math here. You guys have done this so many times, you're probably experts. But let's review it one more time. So that's 9 minus 18 plus 5. So that happens to be, well, that also happens to be negative, oh wait, negative 4. Right? Yeah, negative 4. And therefore, the answer is going to be the vertex is at negative 3, negative 4. In other words, that is the minimum point. Find the domain and range. Well, the domain of every parabola is all real numbers because they go on forever, both left and right. The range, on the other hand, is all the y values, and you'll notice that the y values here do not go below negative 9. So the range is negative 9 and above. Number 5, convert this to standard form. Well, right now it's in vertex form, and so I need to convert to standard form. Here's one thing, though, I can find from vertex form. I can easily find the vertex. The vertex is the opposite of this number, so negative 3, and then negative 5. Which means that my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals negative 3, because the vertex has to go through the axis of symmetry. And the y-intercept. I don't know what the y-intercept is yet, because to find the y-intercept, as you can see in your notes, you need to have it in standard form. So let's put this in standard form. Oh, I could have put that all down here. Never mind. Put that in the wrong spot. Why does my computer keep beeping? Stop beeping. All right, so let's see. X plus 3 times x plus 3 minus 5. So we're going to start with that. So multiplying x plus 3 times x plus 3, I'm going to get x squared plus 6x plus 9. I kind of did a little bit of work in my head there, but you guys are getting good at this, right? That times that gives me 3x and another 3x, so 6x. Distributing the 2, negative 2x squared minus 12x minus 18 minus 5, which gives me a final standard form of that. So my y-intercept is going to be negative 23. There you go. Number 6, write the equation of this graph in vertex form. Okay, vertex form is generally this. So my A is, well, I'm going to find out. Let's find out. So I go out 1, up 1, out 2, up 4, because it's counting by 2's here. And therefore, it's a standard pattern, so it's just going to be 1. And then x minus 1, because that's the x value of the vertex, squared. And then plus negative 9, or I guess I should say minus 9. There you go. The tricky part there is finding A, but just remember the pattern. The pattern is always out, up, out 1, up 1, out 2, up 4, out 3, up 9. And then these numbers get multiplied by A. So if it's just a normal pattern of 1, 4, 9, A must be 1. What's the vertex of this guy? Oh, well, we've done this question already today, so here we go. X equals negative b over 2a. And yes, that is actually part of the quadratic formula. X equals negative b, blah, 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 all over 2a. So it's the first and the last part of the quadratic formula. When you're in pre-calc, you'll understand why. For now, just go with it. For now, you can just think, oh, well, that's a neat coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Okay, let's see. Since b is already negative 12, negative 12 is positive 12. And so this will give me 12 over 6, which is 2. So my vertex is 2, comma, plugging in 2. What do we get? We get, that's 12 minus 24 plus 9. That'll give me negative 3. Yep. And therefore, it's going to be at negative 3. That's it. Factor, oldies but goodies here. So we talked about this one last chapter, so I'm just going to make this part quick. Here are the answers that you should have had. Let's see, I can take out an x first, and then find two numbers that add up to 5 and multiply out to negative 14. This one here, I'm going to have to guess and check, or split the middle. I'm going to guess and check again. So 3x and x. 12 is a tough one because it's 1 times 12, 2 times 6, or 3 times 4. So you really got to think on this one. And I'm going to go with a 4 here and 3 there. And the reason I know that is because this gives me 4x. This gives me 9x. And together, I can get that 5 in the middle as long as I make the negative on the 9. So I'm going to make this negative, make this positive. And that's how you do it by guessing and checking. After a while, you kind of get good at it. I think I'm good at it. Yeah, that's right. Okay, next page. Graph all of this stuff. Okay, so remember the pattern? The pattern is out 1, up 1, out 2, up 4, out 3, up 9, out 4, up 16, times A. So this first one is just your standard parabola. So he's going to start at 0, 0, up 1, out 1, up 1, out 2, up 4, out 3, up 9, and so on. And if I were Aiden, I could draw the perfect parabola. And there it is. That's not a perfect parabola, but it's okay. The next one's in vertex form. So my vertex is the point 3, negative 5. So first I'm going to go to 3, negative 5 and put a point. And then I'm going to notice that my A is 2. So I got to double everything. Out 1, up 2. Out 2, up 8. Woo! So I'm going to go all the way up to there. And I'm going to stop right there because I don't want to make a big mess. but basically it's going to look like that. That's letter B. B. Okay. This one has no B. It only has an A term and a C term, so there's no movement left or right. So I know it's going to start at 10, way up here. And I know it's going to go down because of the negative, but it's going to be tripled. So out 1, down 3. Out 2, down 12. So this guy's going to go all the way down there. So he's going to be a skinny guy going downhill like this. That is letter C. Looks a little messy. Sorry about that. And letter D. Graph that. You'll need to find the vertex first. Okay? So you do your usual process for finding the vertex. Negative B over 2A. So my vertex is at negative B, comma. Oh, somebody close the door. This is the part in the middle of fourth period where we need to close the door. Thanks, Jackson. Appreciate it. Okay, so f of negative 2. Let's see what that gives us. That gives us, let's see, that's 8 minus 16 plus 5. 3, I believe. No, negative 3. Correct, negative 3. So negative 2, negative 3. So negative 2, negative 3 is right there. And it opens up. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's going to make a mess. So negative 2, negative 3. So it's doubled because A is 2. So it's going to go out 1, up 2, out 1, up 2. And I'm just going to make him really small because if not, it's going to make a mess here. And here is where letter D is going to be. Okay. So you should be able to graph some parabolas for the final. The final is actually multiple choice. So if that question comes up, it's going to be, here's a graph, which equation matches it? Or here's an equation, which graph matches it? So more on factoring, because as I mentioned, there's a lot of factoring on the final. So hopefully you realize you can take out a 4 first, and this is a difference of squares. Factoring is just one of those skills that you need to have in order to succeed in high school math, which is why in Algebra 1, we just keep going over and over and over. So take out 4x first because you can. And then you're either done or you can split the middle or guess and check. I'm going to guess and check. Let's see. Oops. I didn't mean to put that there. So 5x and x give me the 5x squared. And then for 2, it's either 2 and 1 or 1 and 2. If I put 2 and 1, it's not going to work, but 1 and 2 will work. And I can tell because this gives me 1x, this gives me 10x, and 1 and 10 will give me the negative 9 as long as that one is negative and that one is positive. Of course, if you do not like that technique, you can split the middle, which I reviewed in the video from yesterday, Chapter 7 review. This is also from Chapter 7. We're just making sure you remember it. So this is kind of a long multiplication. Let's zoom in on this one. So x cubed minus 3x squared minus 5x, then 2x squared minus 6x minus 10, which gives you x cubed minus x squared, because these two are like terms, minus 11x, because those two are like terms, minus 10. And that is as far as you can go. That's a 4-term polynomial, and it's cubic. Next one, add to like terms. So you're going to get x squared. He has no partners. This x and this negative 3x, they go together. This 2 and this negative 5, they go together. So x squared minus 2x minus 3. And lastly, my advice is always to distribute the negative. So it's going to look like this. X plus 2, that's that guy, minus x squared plus 3x plus 5. So your final answer is negative x squared plus 4x plus 7. And lastly, what transformations? Oh, yeah, this one's on the final. I just remember seeing it. Change that to that. There are 4 of them, actually. That -1 is a reflection over the x-axis. And what that means is that basically that -1 takes your parabola and it flips it upside down. So it reflects over the x-axis. That 3, that's the negative. The 3 is a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. Basically what we're saying is that it makes it taller by factor of 3. Instead of going out 1 and up 1, it goes out 1 and up 3. So it's going to get skinked, it's going to stretch in the vertical direction. The -2, well, that means that your vertex would be at the point, I'll put it here, the vertex is the point 2, 5. 12:15. Lunch? Yeah, that's the other lunch bell. Okay, I see, yeah. Man, there are a lot of bells. So that 2 means that you're going to move it to the right 2, and that's a translation. It's translation to the right by 2 units. And then the 5, because the vertex is at 2, 5, it's been moved up by 5. And that is also a translation. Translation up 5 units. So there are 4 transformations. Reflection over the x-axis, a vertical stretch, a translation to the right, and a translation up. That's what you should have. Lastly, what transformation changes that to that? Okay, there are only 3 of them this time because there's no negative. So the 0.5, or the 1/2, is a vertical shrink by a factor of 1/2. 0.5 and 1/2 are of course the same. There's a 1/2 in front of it, so my A is 1/2. Remember that in vertex form it looks like this, and this is in vertex form. That A tells you about the shape. So in this one, you're going to go out 1, up 1/2, out 2, up 1/2 of 4, which would be 2, and so on. So it's been shrunk. It's not going up very fast. Then, of course, this vertex is going to be at the point -2, -1. So that is a translation down, left 2. Because we got to go to -2. And then that -1 is going to be a translation down by 1. Those are your 3 transformations. That's the 2, and that's the -1. Okay, that's it. That's kind of a tougher section. That's why it's at the end. But there are quite a few questions from this on the final, so make sure that you study it well. And make sure that your notes are ready because you can bring your green sheet with you. All right, one more day of review, then we're doing the final. See you tomorrow.